Thank you everyone coming to the Club Growth Acceleration Series, to our very first session. For those of you who don't know, yay, woo! I'm glad to see you all. It's very fun. I think this is an important session. It's for those of you who are wondering, it's going to be a bit like a TLI session, TLIX session, but with sessions dedicated to club growth. Everything having to do from retention, marketing, personas, um, open houses, demo houses, opening new clubs in both in new markets and in already saturated markets as well. Lots of things to cover. Not a lot of time to actually do it in, let's be honest. But I would like to, of course, introduce the very, very first speakers, moderators for today, for this particular session, this webinar in the Club Growth Acceleration series. This is called Make Your Mark, Building Your Toastmasters Club, Creating Lasting Impact. I would like to introduce Evrim Sengules. She's the Club Growth Assistant for Division A, which is Italy, Albania, and Malta. Also San Marino and Vatican City. We don't have clubs there yet. But we can learn from this session how we could get there as well. And of course to Diane Fryman, who was instrumental in starting Toastmasters 30 years ago in Italy, which now is, well, the largest division in our district. I would also like to give a shout out to other members here, to Joe, our Division A director, to Nestor Bartolome, the public relations manager, Nigel Thew, he's our DOT coordinator and also involved in other things. And we also have Katja Baudet, the program quality director for the district. All great to see you. Woohoo! Great to see you all. And without further ado, Evrim and Diane, you have the webinar.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So, Diane, would you like to also start? I will do the introduction. Okay. So yes, today we have with us Diane Fryman is our testimonial, is our guest speaker. Good evening, everyone, and it's really great to be here with you tonight. And I'm the division assistant in Division A for the club extension. And in my professional life, I'm a global solution marketing manager at a payment technology company. I'm with Toastmasters for 4 years, and since the beginning, I'm in my Toastmaster fellows. Basically, they brought me onto the leadership roles within Toastmasters. So I'm really happy to be here and today to share with you together with some ideas about the club growth activities. So thank you for being here. And I also would like to thank you, Diane, for her availability. Today is our also, we have been doing together another webinar some weeks ago at the division level. And thank you, Laura, for giving us this opportunity tonight to share our ideas about club growth. And thank you, everyone, for being here. So let me start sharing my screen. And just let me know if you see it properly. I will put it in the full screen. So everything is okay? Okay, thumbs up, great. Okay, so yeah, so the webinar is, as Laura anticipated, is Make Your Mark, build a Toastmasters Club to create lasting impact. And we will see why Toastmasters Club, how a Toastmasters Club can actually give you a way to realize your mission, realize something more than just a public speaking, and actually realize your mission, realize yourself, and create, leave a lasting impact. So for a moment, I ask you to dream. Tonight, we are in Friday evening, and I mean, for those of you who are working, we are all tired after a long work week. Anyway, just let's close our eyes and imagine for a moment to be on a tropical island after a sunny day, just having a cocktail on the beach, and after a very hot day, just having this cold drink. And Laura was just mentioning us 33 degrees in Israel. And so actually also even think of maybe if this were your bar and you had actually opened a bar on this tropical island, and this is now your bar and it's all your place. Actually, this place is truly yours, and where you can do whatever you want, and you can decide on the recipes of the cocktails that you want to implement this year, maybe different from next year. And this year I would like to really like try with strawberries, and that will be my specialties. And maybe you have even a growth plants on your bar, and maybe you will open a conversation club, a Toastmasters club, maybe even with your bar, you know. And like opening a bar on a tropical island is a very classical dream, right? So I just want to ask you, I mean, how many of you have ever dreamed of opening a bar on a tropical island after maybe a tropical vacation? I mean, how many of you, just a thumbs up, thank you, Nigel. And just thumbs up, yeah, Katya is also here with us, yeah. I couldn't see everybody. Yeah, okay. So I mean, it's a very classical dream, and it seems to be like the easiest thing that comes to our minds, no? And it's really like a kind of an urge to break free from our chaotic rhythms of our daily life. But then what happens, you know? We turn back to the city, and we return from vacation. We leave our dreams packed away in a suitcase, forgotten in a corner until the next holiday. And we slip back into our routine, setting aside the ideas that had inspired us during our vacation, just exactly as we did with our childhood dreams. Now, when we were a child, we had quite different dreams, no? As children, we usually, we dreamed of becoming something important, actually something great. I mean, maybe an astronaut, a pilot, a doctor. It could be, even a simpler profession, but it had a significance for us. So, we wanted to be something that's important, that really changed the world, made the world a better place, a more sustainable place, stop the wars, help the poor people, protect animals. So we all had these kind of like big dreams. But then, we felt this potential and to be special, to transform the world. But then when we grown up, the things changed, and we grew up, and we added additional responsibilities. We had we had a family to take care of. Now we had our work. We need to make our career, and we settled into the routines, and we locked our dreams. We just kind of I would not say forgot maybe, but just ignored our dreams inside a drawer. Of course, adulthood brings responsibilities, and we just can't afford anymore to follow those dreams, no? Any case, from time to time, we still hear this little voice inside us, speaks to us, saying that I am special. I was born for a mission. I'm more important than this. No, I can do. We still, everyone can fill in the blanks in the way that is more suitable for you. That is more that is more fitting to your, of course, your ideas, your dreams. Everyone has a different dream, but every one of us, each of us, we hear that voice calling us to break free from the ordinary and bring our own ideas to life, and follow a personal mission that truly represents who we are, contribute to something bigger than what we are doing today, and feeling that we have a greater potential than what we are doing, what we are actually seeing right now. We feel that potential, no? We have a bigger potential. So we want to realize this potential, and how we realize this potential, how we try to realize ourselves and to try to do something more important than what we are doing right now, no? And one of the ways is really like helping who is more needful than us. One way is to to help the other people and get involved in a social project, dedicating time to volunteering activities, offering our support to the people who are more in need than us. No, this makes us really feel more fulfilled. We feel that we are making a difference and we are respecting our childhood dreams, I mean, like the potential. Another way is to realize our potential is a more ambitious bet, actually, is to build a startup. No, this will be a way to bring our ideas into life. Something like that bar on a tropical island, but something even more deeper, like in significance, maybe has a more important significance for us, more in line with our dreams, perhaps a venture that also carries a cause that is closer to our hearts. So it could be something completely new, a groundbreaking concept. It could be an improvement on something that is already existent, or it could be also an idea that is already proven on a market, and maybe we take that idea and bring it into a new market. I don't know. I mean, like, I want to actually make it more interactive, and I want to ask you, have you ever had a startup idea? Have you ever had of an idea that maybe you wanted to implement as a startup, or maybe even you did it, no? Maybe, I don't know, like somebody already implemented it. Laura is saying yes, and
I had the ideas, I haven't implemented them. Well, one of them almost, but the others haven't.
will come. And I was, yeah, I mean, some of you already established clubs actually, so I don't, this one will come later. And I see Katya was making a facial expression. Yes, I would love to maybe sing, Katya. And yeah, I myself, yeah, yes, Katya, please.
Yeah. So I had many strange ideas in my mind, but actually something that I realized was about children. So yeah.
Okay. So it's a social project, it's a social startup for children.
Yeah, it was when I was a little bit younger, and I created something for children that is still alive, because it was an organization about kiting, and I'm so proud of that.
Yeah.
Now there are 100 of children that are kiting.
Wow. That's great. I mean, and I see like the satisfaction in your voice, and you know, like that fulfillment that we were talking, I was mentioning before, like feeling satisfied, feeling fulfilled through that project. I also had some ideas. I mean, I never implemented like a kind of the organic food, or bringing organic food direct from farmers to the tables of people, or a kind of a sustainable tourism projects in which you can actually mark the hotel, how much it is really sustainable, and help travelers to choose their accommodations for the vacation based on that. And these ideas are, I mean, my ideas are nothing revolutionary. They are already existent, but maybe do it better, more efficiently, etc. At the end, I never implemented these ideas yet. So, but of course, I mean, like doing a startup is a way to realize your potential, a way to feel more fulfilled. So turning back to our previous discussion of ways to realize your mission, what if I tell you that there is still another way to realize your mission, and that's actually to start a startup, to start a new Toastmasters club, no, as a startup, and yeah. So how it could be, how actually starting a new Toastmasters club can really be related to launching a new club. In two ways it can be related. First of all, it gives you the purpose, the why. So every dream starts with a desire. Every startup is born from an idea that wants to leave a mark. No, and while we are dreaming of opening, participating a social project or opening any building a startup, we actually think of always like the way also in which we live, we make our mark. And Toastmasters is definitely a way to do that, and is actually can give many meaningful ways to truly make a difference. Through a club, you can actually fulfill yourself by leading a community towards your mission, especially if this is a social one. And the second way in which starting a Toastmasters club is like launching a startup is the fact that it provides you the method. Because Toastmasters, as we all know it, is actually is a very structured club. There are lots of like the ways in which the methodologies existent in Toastmasters is really very helpful in order to get direction, in order to be navigated towards the most effective ways to achieve your mission. No, so in fact, while starting a new Toastmasters club, there are lots of steps that you can go through, but in each and every step, you have a great support from Toastmasters community, and we all know about Toastmasters community and how the people are really like willing to support these kind of new initiatives. No, I'm thinking of even like a kind of, we will talk about this later, actually, like I will go deeper dive in the later moments, but like just even to organize a meeting, and when you call, like exactly like Diane did today, no, is like when you need a support from a person, and you just call your fellow Toastmaster, and the other person is willing to help and step in. So this is definitely an advantage when you want to initiate a venture like a new Toastmaster club or a startup. So let's start with the why. So why one person would, why a Toastmaster might even want to start a new Toastmasters club, no? First of all, for social reasons. Think about all the benefits that being a Toastmasters brings you today. Toastmasters help us to develop more than 300 key skills in 5 core competencies: public speaking, interpersonal communication, leadership, management, confidence, and lots of skills related to that. It benefits a lot of different types of personas, like workers, students, professional, communities, society, normal person, neighborhood, whatever person, everybody needs communication skills. So opening a new Toastmasters club actually means also extending all these benefits to a larger community, to more people. Having people, providing Toastmasters, having it accessible by more people, affordable by more people. Of course, we are maybe like, I don't know, like which city you are from, but I'm thinking of Milan. Of course, in Milan, I have the physical possibilities to be able to participate in a club in person. But in many of the cities in the world, there is no Toastmasters club. So actually, by opening a new Toastmasters club, just as an example, this gives the possibility to the people there to be able to participate a public speaking club in person. So it's definitely, it's a true community to transform your idea also into a concrete project. It combines the volunteering activity with the opportunity to build something of your own, no? Each club has its own unique identity. So apart from these 300 key skills, actually, like each club has a mission, has a different mission, and that could be exactly the mission that you have in your mind, maybe even from your childhood, trying to implement that mission, like as Katja was mentioning before, about children. It could be about children, it could be about women, it could be about sustainable speakers, for example. It could be whatever mission that you have. The club would be a way to implement that mission, realize that mission for you. So this is definitely one of the reasons. And before going to the next slide, I would like to now, present a testimonial. In fact, we all know Diane. So I'm honored to present you today as our guest speaker. Diane is originally from the United States and the founder of Toastmasters Milanese, which is the very first Toastmasters club in Italy. Milanese was founded in 1993, exactly 32 years ago. And have members who have helped established numerous clubs in Milan and also in other cities across Italy. Diane is also the CEO of Performance Technology Solutions, a consulting firm focused on improving business performance through people. And with a degree in psychology and a master's in instructional design from the United States, Diane started her career at Accenture, working in the US, in Singapore, and in Australia. And now her company actually supports clients in numerous multinational corporations across EMEA. Now, with a round of applause, I would like to welcome Diane Freiman.
Thank you so much, Evrim, firstly, for inviting me to be a part of this very important session. I believe that starting new clubs and spreading Toastmasters as much as we can really has an impact on making this a better world. And this is one of the motivators that I had when I made a decision many years ago. Of course, I was only 5 years old, right? And I was a very youthful Toastmaster. And but basically, yeah, since I was a child, even my nursery school teacher told my mother, watch out for your daughter because she is helping others more than she maybe will help herself. And that led me later, very early age, I was interested in psychology. And I've always wanted to help others to reach their highest potential. And so having had the opportunity when I was in Chicago working with Accenture at their training facility as an instructional designer, so developing training programs, I wanted to become a trainer. And so to become a trainer, I had to learn training skills. And one of the key skills is obviously presenting in public, but also it is as a leader. And I found so much support through Toastmasters, both in Chicago, but also when I moved to Australia, being a part of it. And when I was in Singapore, to be quite honest, I was so busy working, I didn't have time to participate in Toastmasters. But once I came to Italy, there was no Toastmasters. And I had the energy and the time and the interest. I met a couple of other people who you all know, or some of you know that are in Italy, Tony and Fabrizio, that they also participated abroad in Toastmasters, but there was no Toastmasters in Italy. So they said, well, why don't we start a Toastmasters here? And I said, that's a fantastic idea, of course. How could we live without Toastmasters? It's given us so much. It's enriched our lives. We must start Toastmasters. So I can tell you that it took a lot of energy and time because we had absolutely no support locally, not being the first club in Italy. So we couldn't reach out to Switzerland or to France or to something like that. I was writing faxes and calling California directly so that we could actually get the information we needed so we could start the club. So I started launching in 91. And although I did have some help from Fabrizio Cruschelli, Tony at that time, I didn't have really the time to dedicate to it. So it took, I must say, I learned so much from even just beginning to launch the program, because you you learn to be an entrepreneur when you do a startup, which I later did, and I'll tell you about that. You really have to know how to do things without a budget. So you have to do what's called bootstrapping, which is something that I teach in my entrepreneurial managerial course when I teach as a professor at university. And bootstrapping means being able to get things done without having any budget. So Toastmasters is a fantastic place to learn how to do that, right? We all know. You learn how to use all the software that's for free now. At the time when we were launching, we had no internet. We were before 1995, which is when the internet was born, right? And so we had to figure out ways to do it. So I was very fortunate speaking English in Milan and being a part of different communities that spoke in English, like the American Chamber of Commerce, or getting to know people that were at a very high level in other big four companies. Because when you're Accenture used to be part of Arthur Andersen, which is a big four. Not everybody knows the story about that, but we won't get into that right now. But basically, Accenture, when you're a part of that kind of a group, it kind of opens doors. And I was helping to build the business for the company when I was in Australia and in Singapore. I actually sold the project that we did in Singapore, which I was managing. And I was opening and training my colleagues in instructional design. So I understood what it meant to develop other people and to do that sort of thing. So it came very naturally to me to train everybody up because I was a trainer. That's how I viewed myself. So having to train everybody on how do we do a meeting? How do we do that? So, but the thing that perhaps was fortunate is that having met the head of the American Chamber of Commerce, I kind of understood intuitively, I should say, that this would be a channel to many, many people that needed Toastmasters. So we knew it's going to have to be a bilingual club. I didn't speak Italian, by the way, only English. And so that was certainly an incentive as well to make it a bilingual club. And launching it to the American Chamber, they hosted us for the first 6 sessions. And the most important thing is they publicized through their house organ, as they called it, which is a newsletter. They went out to all of the members. So we're talking about hundreds of American-based companies, 100 companies that are, or hundreds or thousands of companies within Italy that have maybe American origins. And so we were able to find our very first pillar members who were very high level, a lot of what they call in Italy, dirigenti, so managerial level, ex-CEOs. One gentleman was a CEO and of an American company, and he was going into early retirement. So he was very interested in taking that on. And also we had other members, very high level managerial people. So they were very eager to learn about Toastmasters and to learn how to speak in public and to improve their leadership skills. At that time, we didn't really focus on the leadership skills, but it's clear anybody that takes on any kind of a role within Toastmasters, you learn leadership skills. So I was so pleased when I saw that they add that on where leaders are made. That came years later. So it was only considered a public speaking organization at the time that we actually founded it. But yes, we can learn so many things through managing groups, through teams. And I've mentored people that have come into Toastmasters that actually they wanted to, even they were maybe a CIO in a bank. I'm thinking of Turantanin. He wanted to learn how to influence people and be a leader of people without having the rank within an organization, so that he could learn how to motivate people. And this was his mission was. And we all know that Turan took on a very important, many leadership roles, went very high within the organization. And it was hard to get him to start, but once he got started, he was definitely enthusiastic. no doubt about it. But he wasn't so convinced at first. So I had to motivate him to do it. And clearly I did the right thing because he took our organization to a next step as well, as many of you have. So just to sum up, I think that the things that you talked about, why do we do it? I recognized the importance of helping others to improve their communication skills. And also, quite honestly, it was an opportunity for me to improve my Italian and to meet people that had like-minded interests in improving communication and their leadership. And it was how we went about doing it. So because we didn't have a budget, finding the American Chamber of Commerce. So a lot of people think, oh, we can't find free space, but it's not true. There's so many companies that would like to start a Toastmasters club, or that are willing to allow you to have their space. Before we started the Navigli Club, which is another club in Milan, which we did years later, and actually Turan, I think, was the first president. We were hosted originally, and this is thanks to Ivan, to some other Toastmasters that through Deloitte, they were hosting us, just like I was able to get Price Waterhouse and Ernst & Young were hosting us. So that's one of the biggest hurdles we have, is the meeting place, because we can't really afford it when we're trying to get the numbers together. So I would encourage everybody to always look for finding people who, yes, also at Google, I think we attempted to encourage Google as well. I see somebody's written in the chat. And I think that it's just, we should never underestimate the power that when you're enthusiastic about what you've learned from Toastmasters and you spread your enthusiasm and explain the benefits that people get from that you've gotten and that others will get, it has a sort of natural influence on others. And if you go to the highest person in that organization that you can find and you convince them that their people can benefit from Toastmasters, you'd be surprised how many will say yes, at least that they're willing to host you and give you a space, even if their people eventually do not have time to come to the Toastmasters. So this is what we noticed, is that those kind of organizations, the highest level of person said, yes, take the space, please go and do this. It sounds excellent. Maybe they didn't communicate it enough within the organization or in the best ways possible. We try to also encourage that to help them to make sure that it's widespread and that it's understood. But there are amazing organizations that would be willing to give you space. So never assume that you can't find space. That's the first step. And then finding the channel to communicate to the right people. And those leaders that I found early on, as I said, through the American Chamber, they were the ones that took the leadership, and they took us ahead for the next 10 years. Because quite honestly, in 93, I got married. I was managing my job. And also I started to have children 2 years later. And so I have 2 beautiful children. And I didn't have time to go to the meetings in the evening. The club went ahead because I was able to train those first managers that were interested in taking it over. And they brought it forward for the next 10 years until the internet was able to help to get the word out. And so that's the amazing thing that you can do, is you can learn so much about influencing people, marketing, bootstrapping, as we said. So there are a lot of reasons to start a club. And I'm sure whatever your reason may be, you will find it extremely challenging, extremely beneficial, and you will learn more things. The 300 skills that we heard Evrim talk about. Your cup will be runneth over, as we say. You will gain so many things from it, that it is something that everybody should have a chance to do if they have the inclination. I think it's just a matter of finding the motivation and the time. Of course, it took me time, but I was new to Italy, so I was learning the ropes, so to speak. But it helped me to prepare to become an entrepreneur, because it took me 10 years living and working in Italy, working as a freelance consultant, before I was able to then create my own company, which we we heard about in the introduction, which then helped me to learn how to approach the highest level of leaders within an organization and to convince them that we can help them with their people to improve their organization. So I hope this is useful. Any questions that the group might have, I'm very happy to address.
Yeah, thank you very much, Diane. And we will have the questions at the end. And thank you very much for the suggestions and very useful suggestions, because this is a real case. This is a concrete and real Toastmasters clubs, and all the details that you have also, I mean, really like the details that you shared about, I mean, I was thinking of my sales experience, like when you said like, point target to the highest level, because that's the decision maker that would then open you the way, no, to make the things, to facilitate the things. That's really like I was just thinking like that's very similar. No, it's a kind of a social selling, I would call it.
Yes, absolutely. It's fundamental, because if you want to convince, if you go in the wrong door into the organization, and this I know as an entrepreneur as well, you might limit yourself because the person doesn't have the decision-making power to be able to assist you. And so you really have to go to the highest level. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you lose time and effort, of course. I mean, you might get tired sooner if you are like struggling with these things. Thank you very much, really, Diane. And at the end, please, for the questions, I mean, I will now proceed, because we have limited time, to the after this motivation of Diane on how we can do the, I mean, like why we need to open the new club. Now let's see about how we can open the new club, which is another aspect. And so once we decided, but how we can do this. So let's go to the steps, because these are, I mean, like at very high level, there are very simple steps, because I mean, we are talking about like 4 steps, out of which the first one is actually all about you. Planning what you want to do, as also Diane was mentioning, deciding what's your mission, why you are opening this club. And that's really the identity piece that's very important, because it will give you the direction, and it will also give you the means to convince other people to come with you, to lead others to your gain them to your mission, no? Then we have the register phase, the request phase, charter phase. I don't go into the detail, because now we will go into the detail one by one. And let's start with the planning one. It's the really like, it's, as I was mentioning, it's all about you. Exploring, first of all, I mean, like we have a guide. We have a guide that's available in the Toastmasters website, how to build a Toastmasters club, which is a very nice, I mean, like about 25 pages, if I'm not wrong, very nice suggestions about practical tips about how to run the club, how to open the club. Another thing that's, I think, important is to explore other clubs and notice the differences. I'm sure that the people here you already visited other clubs. We even have people from other districts, so you are already open-minded people to go and see others, even to the other clubs as a free guest. We have this opportunity in Toastmasters to understand, really, like also in Italy. And despite the fact that we have maybe like many clubs, there are many other club types existent out of our division, out of our district, that we can replicate still here. There are so many opportunities, and this really makes you, I mean, it makes you think of other ideas that you might not have talked before. And of course, contact the dedicated team for support. And going forward, so find your mission. What's the reason? What's really like, that's very important for you. That's very important, because that will be the motivation, that will be the fuel, the fueling factor that will help you to put your energy and put your mind to be able to open this club. So what really inspires you? What's your mission that you want to realize, and also gain other people to your cause? It could be, as Diane was mentioning, for example, that being a bilingual club, she was actually learn Italian. I mean, For other people, it could be like being on professional presentations. The other time, like for me, it happened that I'm now at work. I'm usually the chosen person to be on this stage because it's a kind of a reason. It became a reason for me. It was not the initial reason for which I joined, but it could be a reason for me to open a new club because I want to train others like TED speakers, that some of you are already trainers in TED. So maybe train others to be a good speaker on the stage or to be a professional speaker. So there can be other reasons. So once you define these, I call these logistics of your club. Once you define your mission, your why, then define some key aspects. As Diane was mentioning, for example, the location, especially when it is an in-person club, it's the location. If it is not free, it might be very much costly that you can't afford. So it's an important factor that Diane was mentioning. If you are to open an in-person club, so look for the opportunities to find a free location place, possibly being able to host at least 20 people, which is the minimum number for a healthy club. What is your target persona? So who would be the people, based on your mission, who would be the people who would be most benefiting from your club? So if it is like professional speakers, then maybe I might be going and talking to the people who wants to initiate their startup. For them, being on the stage and being performant on the stage is very important, no? So that's the target persona is very important because that will be then the places that will determine then the places from which you can actually recruit your members. How do you meet? Whether it's going to be an online, 100% online, or a hybrid club. What language you speak, of course. Who can join? Is this going to be an open or a closed community? That's also something that you can decide. It's a free choice. It could be also a special club. It could be only for advanced members, or it could have some other special rules that you will define. Meeting frequency, remembering that at least your club should meet at least 12 times per year. You can decide whatever formula works for your target market. If it is a corporate club, some corporate clubs meet 1 hour during lunchtime every week. Whatever works for your target. It's like in the sales activity, your target, your members are your customers that you want to serve actually. So their preferences will determine also some of these logistics. The mission is on yours, and then once you find your target people, then logistics probably would be best to organize based on your target customers' preferences. So, by the way, what is your club's name? No, is that like right from the beginning, you can start actually giving an identity to your club. So these are like some of the opportunities that we have in our district. It could be also for the people coming from other districts. There can be similar opportunities. I encourage you also to go and talk with the district growth director to understand what could be the opportunities. Now, I also would like to ask some comments from Laura on these opportunities that we have on the district. Laura, if you would like to comment on these.
We have many opportunities in District 109. I also see we have some members from District 74. Unfortunately, I don't know that district as well. But in District 109, right, as we see here, in terms of geography, we don't have any any clubs in Montenegro, in North Macedonia, in San Marino, in Liechtenstein, and in the Vatican City. And these are all countries that are within our district that don't have a single club. Some of those might be harder to go in. Some of those might be easier. Vatican is in the middle of Rome, and Rome is its own area, has its own area director. So that might be easier. But for example, Montenegro, North Macedonia are far from any particular Toastmasters club. They're very far from, also Liechtenstein. So right, there's already a lot of potential there, just geographically speaking. Other major other major cities with a few clubs, as you have written here, we have Izmir that has it's 4 million people. I believe we have only 1 or 2 clubs there. For a city of 4 million, you can have its own area, even its own division, right? In Jerusalem, we have only 1 club. In Tel Aviv, we're now chartering its first club ever. Bologna, in Florence, we have 1 club. So these are geographic. Other ones, we don't have morning clubs. There might be one in the works right now, I can tell you, a breakfast club. We also have. I also received some more feedback. We don't have clubs actually in Antalya as well, in Turkey. We have fairly few university clubs, just a few. I could even name you the ones that are local to here that don't have them. Tel Aviv University doesn't have one. Hebrew University doesn't have one. Technion doesn't have one. And these are the major universities in Israel alone, right? I'm not even talking about all the other ones in the whole district. Corporate clubs, other than Division E, we don't have too many corporate clubs. And there's actually no limit to how many corporate clubs, by the way, you can have in one particular corporate, as you've mentioned. So we have a lot of different clubs we can start, and this is just on the hard facts, right? The geography, the corporate, college, time. I can also mention that, for example, maybe even language clubs. We have a lot of Greek clubs, a lot of Italian clubs. Our very first Hebrew club is happening just now. Okay, Hebrew isn't a major language, I will admit, but nonetheless, right. We don't have a lot of French clubs, even though in Geneva we have French, right? We're now starting a Spanish club. And there are ones that are just now starting that speak to particular needs and values. For example, there's a club that's helping with people who are currently unemployed to help them with their communication skills to be able and leadership skills to be able to help them find a job. We have actually the person who founded that particular club in our meeting here, our very own district director, Krishita Pro. There is and there is another club in Greece being started like that, but this is already a big potential here, right? Just for specialty for people who are currently between jobs. Another one could be for people who are in accelerators, startups accelerators and laboratories and such, like WeWorks and so forth. Right, founders, as you've mentioned, debate enthusiasts, right? Toastmasters has its own debate format. Really fun format, I gotta say, I love it. So we can have those. Almost every single thing probably has its own need, and there's only so much that. And right now, this district can fill a lot of gaps. That's why we're still growing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, really. Thank you very much, Laura. And in fact, these are not even your missions, like you have your mission can be different. And then these are like just the opportunities, like you can just to sign you, just to notify you that you can actually have the facility to find members that are ready to join that club. Because if there is no club, for example, my home city, like I see Malta here also, Izmir, like if there is no people, no club there, I can realize my mission in my home city is a double satisfaction, actually. Okay. Thank you, Laura. And so these are all just to give you some inspiration also about the opportunities that you might take. And so what are the next step once you have your mission, once you have your plan, high level macro plan? So this next step is to make the submit the application form, which is just to become a prospect club. And this will give you access to a charter kit with a lot of Toastmasters materials, as well as the right to be able to use the Toastmasters logo in your communications, which will be the key in the next step, that is the recruitment step. so that you can start promoting your club. And that's the most important step, of course, because as we were saying that like this is a social selling project, and you have your customers and you want to recruit prospect members as much as possible to your club, attract interest, use social media, use your network, and organize demo meetings. Hopefully, I mean, my suggestion is that making these demo meetings regularly, so that people, you manage the expectations, people know that they can come back to the next week or the 2 weeks later or the month later. We are going to try this with some of the prospecting clubs that we are managing in the division. And then start, I mean, as soon as, I mean, in my sales experience, it was always called that like you need to realize the revenue that you have in your hand, no? So once the people like start becoming interested, it's better to make them already fill out their registration forms, and maybe like even pay their fees anyway, like ensure that they are already registered. Their real registration, official registration, will start from the moment in which the club is going to be an official club. So they will not lose anything actually by starting paying their fees or like having signed their registration forms. But this will give them the status of being a founder member of your club, and that's really like that will also give you confidence that you are like arriving to that minimum 20 members of minimum number to be able to charter your club. In this stage, you can also have you will have actually your club sponsor and your club mentor. Club sponsor is particularly very helpful person that supports your recruitment, your chartering activities, and you will start appointing your club officers. So here you will also define your leadership team. So once you reach the minimum of 20 members, you can now charter. That's the last stage. You have the usual Toastmaster member fees. You will then need to consider, of course, your club's expenses. And remember just that like out of these 20 members, 17 should be exclusive members of your club. So that's the minimum number you need to reach. And at this stage, you can charter, sorry for the Italian, festeggia. So like that's your moment to celebrate really. And now you are an official Toastmasters club. That's the best moment. This is just the summary of what we have just seen. If you want to take a screenshot, but I'm sure that we will later also share the slides. And so just to conclude, sorry for the timing. We are a little bit over with the timing. I mean, we have still 2 minutes, but I want to also leave some time to ask you to have your questions if you have any. So just to conclude, we have talked about dreams. We talked about the ideas, about the opportunity to realizing your mission and turning your dreams into reality. Each of us, I mean, from the childhood, we have been growing up actually with these dreams, with these desires to express ourselves, realize our potential. We always feel inside of us that we have something more to tell the world. And starting a Toastmasters Club is not just an opportunity only for our personal growth, but it's really a chance to be able to realize this mission. So I create also a space for others to be able to realize themselves, fulfill their dreams. So for now, I just suggest you to define your next step. I mean, for tonight, after this webinar, do whatever you had planned for a Friday evening, and have some time with your family, with your friends, do whatever, have your dinner if you didn't have yet. And after like you are prepared, I mean, you brushed your teeth before going to the bed, and you go to the bed tonight and lie down on the bed and just think for a moment. Close your eyes and think for a moment, and what's that thing that you would like to really realize in your life? What's that thing that may be a social mission or maybe something else, but you really want to make in your life, I mean, sooner or later? So just think about this thing and close your eyes, sleep, and the morning after, think about this dream and think about also if the Toastmasters can help you to realize this dream. And when you feel ready, just contact the club growth team for support. We are ready and we are here to support. And also all your Toastmasters fellows are here to support in your new club activities. So you can be sure about that. Thank you very much for your time. I'm sorry for 1 minute of delay. And if you have time, if you have the pleasure to stay a little bit longer, we can also share your questions and we can try to answer your questions. Thank you. I stopped the screen sharing. Actually, I see that. Okay. Sorry. Yes, Laura. Thank you. So the sorry is the correct email address should be CGD.
D. Yes.
Sorry. Thank you,
Club
Laura.
growth director.
Yes. Okay. That's a little an important detail, I would say.
Yes, otherwise it's gonna go to Charles de Gaulle, to Paris.
Okay. Let me
I would like, if everyone's okay, I would like to have another just 5-10 minutes to keep the room open for any other questions before I'll officially close the meeting. So, are there any questions?
I do have a question for Diane.
Okay, your mic is very kind of loud or something that it kind of picks up. So either,
Hoppa.
well, okay, we can hear you nonetheless.
Okay.
Oh, much better.
For Diane, the question is, I understand that you are not a shy person. What you can suggest to a person that is a little bit shy to be so brave to reach out to companies and ask for venue, and because most of our servant leaders, they are, they have the desire, but they feel ashamed to go around and ask for venue and opportunities.
I think the important thing is, even if we're a shy person, if you're really convinced and motivated that Toastmasters has been an important experience for you and you want to see it live on, if that motivation should be enough, it's so much easier actually to promote something that's not your own. Okay, so it was easier for me to promote Toastmasters than it is sometimes for me to promote my own company. So think about it that way. You're promoting something that's not your own. You're helping others. You're doing something that's social. You're making a contribution. So I would say, if you don't feel you can reach out yourself, find the person that you know also is interested and work together with that person. I will tell you that if I had left my original, I told you about the colleagues that originally were interested in starting up. If I wasn't the one that was taking on the time and going first to knock on the doors, then it wouldn't have happened, because those people were shy, even though they felt they had a good experience. So that's the other thing I would suggest, is find somebody else that is less shy, but also has your mission, and work as a team. So if it's not for you to do, find somebody else, but just think about it. It's not, you're not selling yourself, you're selling Toastmasters, and you're creating an opportunity for others to grow. So you're making a social mission. If that's enough motivation to therefore knock on the doors to help others, maybe that's enough to get over the shyness. I don't know if that works. Does that make sense? Okay.
Very much. Thank you.
I see we have a question from Rina.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for an insightful session. Thank you, Evrim, Diane, and Laur. What I really liked was how Evrim had the bar and the tropical island, as an introduction. It's so important, especially when we're starting the club, the first impression that you give. So my question is around like, how do you build the first impression when you're starting a new club? So if you could just give some insights with your experience.
Sure. I mean, I will share my point of view. Then I leave to Diane is can share from her experience, and anyone who wants to join, of course. I think, I mean, one of the most important points is really like to have the identity of your club. I mean, identity and your mission actually that arrives first of all, to have it clear, because I mean, the identity is very important, because if I want to join a club, and I will have a reason for joining that club, and the identity of the club will be an important factor for me to understand if I am a fit for that club or not a fit. I mean, whether this club is really serving to my interests, serving to my needs today. And that's, I think, for a member is the most important thing. So the first impression, I think, is that one is very important, because all the other items like culture, the location, the logistics will depend on your identity. Some people, like maybe organized clubs, some can be very good for Milan, but maybe for some other regions, the organization of the club might not be the key factor. So yeah, that's my point of view. Hope it helps. And
Yes,
Diane,
absolutely.
thank you.
Yeah, I
And
totally agree with Evrim, and I think that showing a very supportive environment, and people come for different reasons, and you always have to recognize the reasons that they have and try to support them in that. For example, one of the issues that we had at the beginning, I remember, is some people came just to learn English. And that was a concern, because we're not an English speaking, we weren't teaching English. It just was a side benefit that we were doing it in English and in Italian. So those people who came just to learn English, okay, that was their thing, and we tried to help them to understand, you know, the whole reason that we were there. And so I think being supportive and understanding people's interests, and showing, being, you know, practicing RISE, you know, which is our values, those are so important, you know, our integrity, our responsibility, service, excellence. And these, if we live those values, I think that we demonstrate and we create credibility, and people recognize it and they're attracted to it. And so I think living those values are really important. I hope that helps.
Absolutely. Thank you, Evrim and Diane.
great, thank you to Irina being here. Any other questions?
I see both Nigel and Francesca have raised. We haven't heard from Nigel yet, so I'll let Nigel go first, if you're okay with that, Francesca.
I always say ladies first, so I'm happy to go after Francesca. After you.
Mine is an answer, an addition to what already Evrim and Diane said, that is the base, what they said, okay? The identity and vision. And then, in my opinion, it's very important to have a very good operation plan. So in the clubs I have created, or I am helping to create, I always say, have a calendar prepared, plan a series of at least 5 meetings. So you decide in advance, when you decide your club identity, you decide also which is the day and at what time you meet. And then when the guests arrive and ask you, you tell them already, this is the calendar of the next 5 meetings. And then you use your Toastmasters network to have the roles for every of these 5 meetings already prepared. Because at your first meeting, you don't have your club members, but you can still have all the other members from all the other clubs. They will come and they will help you to give a bombastic impression to these guests. And when they have this bombastic impression, you know, from time to time, they will start also to sign the form. And next time you have an accounter, a timer.
Great. Yes.
bombastic impression. I like it.
Bombastic. The network, you know, in Toastmasters, sometimes we underestimate the power of our network. It's amazing what we can do. Diane has people that they work together with there. They come from the Toastmasters environment. I have also partner in business I met in Toastmaster. It's our network is incredible. You learn people and then you trust the people so much and you want to make partnership with them.
Really. Yeah, I mean, I actually, I mean, I even have like some personal experience with what Francesca you just said. That like also like after the demo meeting, kind of like leaving the public with the information, logistic information for the next meeting. You know, the like just so that like people also understand. I mean, that's only a piece of what Francesca said, but I mean, that was what happened to me. Like after the demo meeting, really like to know what will happen next.
Mm-hmm. People thrive on certainty, or at least they want some certainty in this world, and you know, this is a way to give it. All right, we'll do one last question, and before we'll wrap this all up. So, Nigel, please.
Okay, so my question for the experts is, you mentioned the idea of a core team, and on your graphic you said you want a president and maybe a VPE or something. I'm just wondering, how many people do you need to have in a core team? Because I'm helping Jura Toastmasters to establish itself at the moment. I noticed that at the moment one person is doing all the work. So if she kind of loses her enthusiasm or her energy, you see that the thing's going to fold. And so I'm wondering, how many people do you need, and which roles do you absolutely need to be people to, you know, to be in place to make sure that things succeed? Thank you.
Evrim, did you want to field it?
No, I would ask you to answer that, and Francesca maybe.
Yeah, I think it's so important if you can get the XCOM together. At least, you know, the educational vice president, the one who does the PR, the president. These three roles are fundamental. And then, of course, I mean, you can have the sergeant at arms could be a role that maybe that's switching around, but I think the EVP, the VPPR, and maybe the VPPM. And the president. I mean, these are all fundamental roles. So maybe if you can have four.
And might I add that, you know, to charter, you need to have officially three separate people, right? You need to have a president, one vice president. They don't even specify which vice president, but from our best practices, it should be the VPE, right? You know, this is after all the operations, all the education. And technically, you need to have a secretary. But in this case, okay, it might be a secretary that's also the sergeant at arms and also the treasurer, while also maybe doing part of the VP, part of PR, if you can't find completely everyone. But as you've said, Diane, four is definitely, at least from best practices, it's kind of the minimum to split the load a little bit.
Yeah, and you always need to have a backup plan. So getting people on as quickly as you can, because you might lose, you know, people lose energy, or they might get distracted with their careers or whatever, family things. So it's really important to be able to have backup. So yeah, I mean, we have to get a lot of people on quickly. And if it's at the core group, especially, that's fundamental to then get the other people on. Yeah.
I see Joe and Katya. Is it more questions or just to jump in and add more points?
Yeah, I wanted to chime in on this aspect. So Toastmasters recommends the minimum roles, but despite it recommends the minimum roles, I would recommend that you do take the time to find all the 7 roles, and you actually find 7 different people to fulfill that 7 roles. Reason being, the more people you have on board, the more work they can get done. the easier it is on every single person, reducing the workload on those people who volunteer. Because when you get 3 or 4 people to work in a NextCom, what this means is that the work that needs to be done to get a functioning club has to be divided with those 3 or 4 people. Whereas if you have the full team, you have a full set of people who are working on getting the club going and on making sure the club is operational. And the second thing that helps is we're all human, we're volunteers, and we have to take into account that life happens to everyone. Family matters, health matters, work matters. And sometimes 1 or 2 people might have to drop out of the work they offer to volunteer. So if you have just the minimum, then it becomes a problem. Whereas if you have the full team and you have 1 person drop out, or perhaps just 1 person who needs to be absent for a month for personal reasons, it is easier to distribute the workload of that 1 person on 6 people rather than on 3 people. So if you can take the extra time to find the people to fill all the roles, I think that sets the club on a stronger foundation.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree and back this point. And our Madam PQD.
Thank you so much, Mr. Co-Director. My favorite one, honestly. No, I'm joking because it's quite late. No, I have this kind of suggestion because in my experience, it worked a lot. Also, if you are a few people, it's very important that every time that you are having a meeting, you are giving value to people that are there. So it means that please pay attention to do your job in terms of role as maximum as you can with your resources that you have. It means try to be the leader that you want to see and try to give the content a very high level, because in this way you are increasing your membership audience, I'm quite sure. At the same time, people that are in, they are not losing the desire to be there. So this is very important. And in my opinion, the formula that works better is try to excel every time in each single role. Try to explore every time to do your role in a very best way, maybe better than the last one. You know what I mean? Try to improve yourself every time. In this way, you are becoming a reference, a leader. Other people are seeing you and they want to imitate you. And then you are creating something that is, you know, a journey to increase the quality of the club. So I really think that it works.
All right, Francesca, I'll let you go, and then we do have to wrap it up.
Yeah, I like very much this question, Nigel, because you see from the answer that everyone has his own experience, and so you can figure out what can work best for you. For me, it's important that from the very early beginning, so even when you didn't send the application to organize, so when you think I want to create a club, I like to think this already with someone else. And when I mean someone else, I mean we need a person which is very talkative, that has people, that is willing to speak out with all the people he knows. Then we need a person which is very organized, that this will be the VP, let's say, the one that creates the agendas. And then we need a third person nowadays, in my opinion, someone that is confident with the social media, because the job of the VPPR is very tough. And if you give this role to someone with no experience at all, this will be very overwhelming. So my idea is we start in the startup phase, we start already with a group of 3 persons with these characteristics, they are very engaged. And then when we speak with others and we find other people that commit to the idea, my way is I am not afraid to give people trust and space. If I see that a person is motivated, I don't care if he has no idea. I sit 1 hour and I explain the basics to be a secretary, the basics to be such the terms, or even VPM. If I see that the person has talent to take care for other, it's okay if it has no Toastmasters experience. This we can find in the manual. And it's like a step-by-step work, in my opinion, but that you start in your head very at the very early beginning. So, and really give space, as Katja said, they celebrate people for each and every effort. And also, as Diane and Katja and Laura and Joseph mentioned, we have manuals and we can share feedback in a decent way. But this is a learning development environment. So we really don't need to be afraid of giving space and trust. And that's another way that you can put in your pocket, you know. Thank you, Laura, for this meeting. It was very inspiring.
First of all, thank you, Nigel, for a great question. You saw you got responses from everyone. Everyone has their own opinion, right? Their own experience and their own best practice. But I also, as I've mentioned, I really do want to say thank you to Evrim and to Diane, who left already, because this is your webinar, and you brought together to us how to actually create a Toastmasters club, how to create lasting impact. Right, this is extremely important for us, whether we're trying to sponsor the club, whether we're trying to help to mentor it. Sometimes even when we want to coach it, we want to understand how we can create lasting impact. So, again, thank you, Evrim, and thank you, Diane, for this great session. Two announcements. One is that the rest of the schedule for the Club Growth Acceleration series will be coming out, as well as the Acceleration-a-thon. I'm still thinking about the name. It's hard to I like the name, but I'm still thinking about it. Anyways,
it's a bit too long, Leo.
Anyways, it will be happening on the 26th of April, 6 hours of nothing but club growth related stuff. But we also have other sessions such as this that will be happening. They'll be about an hour long, hour and a half. So that's the first. All throughout April into May. There won't be any during division conferences, so don't worry, you won't be missing any, and there won't be any during the district conference either. You know, I have to be there as well.
You're recording this, and this will be
uploaded to the YouTube channel that we have revived, to social media, and to other places. The other announcement is that, speaking of division conferences, you could potentially get 50 euros for your district conference ticket, right? A discount of 50 euros on your district conference ticket. If at the division conference, remember to bring your club banner with you. So, you know, take photos in front of it and use it to boost the social media. The division that posts a photo on its division LinkedIn profile picture featuring the highest number of club banners to club base, right? We do want to do it as a percentage on LinkedIn, and the division that receives the most comments and shares on LinkedIn will each receive a 50 euro discount on a conference ticket. So definitely worth it, especially here in Malta. So of course, celebrate with us, capture these special moments, and yes. So this is the small announcement from that side of things. Nonetheless, Thank you all so much for coming. Have a great start of your weekend. Great rest of your Friday evening. Enjoy that cold or hot beverage of your choice. Whether on a tropical beach or on a mountaintop with snow. It's up to you. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time.